everybody doing?
Good morning, Danny.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You guys alive, excited, full of energy?
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, does anyone have something awesome to share? I want to hear something awesome. Who's got a win? Anyone's got a
New
win?
listing. You saw my new listing?
New listing? Yes, yes. Where did that originate from?
That was a past client.
From. Excellent, love that. Anyone else have a win? No?
Uh, yeah, I guess I've been doing a lot of polls on Instagram, and the conversation ratio has been unbelievable, and I actually got 2 appointments out of it.
Really? So tell us, what do you put before the poll? Do you do anything before the poll? Is it just the poll? What's the strategy?
So pretty much, I'm going on my Instagram, and then I'm doing. So we actually have a buyer right now that's looking. They don't know if they want to move to a hobby farm or they want to move to the suburbs. It's kind of a battle between husband and wife. So I literally just made an Instagram story of that, and I said, "Hey, this is the situation we're dealing with. What would you prefer to live in?" And I put a poll. And then, so everybody that responded, I'd rather suburbs or I'd rather acreage. I messaged every single one of them and just said, "Hey, that's amazing." So what I try to do is look at their profile real quick. If they had a dog, I'm like, "Oh yeah, acreage would be awesome for a dog." Well, if you're ever looking to buy or sell, I'm here for you with a wink, right? Just something super simple. And then people started coming back and conversating, and 2 people were like, "Actually, I'm thinking of moving," and yeah, I've got 2 appointments set up, and that was like
Brilliant.
one day. So I tried it the next day, and the conversation ratio is huge.
Keeps going. Yeah, yeah. Just remember, folks, there's three reasons that people go to social media. There's only three reasons. The first one is to be entertained. They go to social media to be entertained. The second reason is for education. They want to learn something, the FYIs. And the third is engagement. And that's what you're creating right there. When you put out polls, put out questions, hey, I'd like to know what you think. Those are engagements. Those are engagement points. And when you look at something like Instagram, they value very much the engagement. They're looking for that type of an engagement, right? So that's awesome. What a wonderful win. I love that one. Excellent. Does anyone else have a win? Something that they've been doing that they'd like to share? Go ahead, Angie.
I reconnected with one of my friends, and she actually gave me 2 referrals, one for a listing, listing, and one for a purchase.
Beautiful. Now, was this something intentional? Did you know that you had friends that were thinking
No,
of
no,
selling, or was
not
this
at
just a
all.
connection?
Just reconnected. No.
Just reconnect. So you were making your calls within your database, just reconnecting with people, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, by the way,"
Yep.
happens all the time, folks. Right? Just remember, you're calling your database on a weekly basis. Every single day, it's a work day. You should be connecting with people you know. Now, it's not a sales call, it's a service call. It's how are you? How's the family? How's it going? What questions do you have? You guys do realize that everyone you know, their home for the most part, is the most expensive asset that they own. And you are extremely important to them. You know what buyers are buying for, what sellers are selling for. You have insider knowledge of what is happening in the most expensive asset they own. So it's worthwhile just connecting with them just to say hi. Hey, what questions do you have regarding anything to do with your home? Whether you're thinking of renovating the home and having a tough time finding tradespeople, they should be calling you. If they're thinking, hey, I need to update my will, right? They should be calling you because you're well connected with attorneys and lawyers that can help them with that, right? Anything to do with that their lifestyle, they should be connecting with you, right? So when you make your calls, just say, hey, it's a service call. Hey, what questions do you have, right? And that's the idea behind it. Great job, Angie. Love it. Anyone else? Anyone else have any wins? Go ahead, Mary Jo.
Yeah, so I think it was 2 weeks ago after the huddle call, when we had talked about sending video to clients, and Mark had given me some great information about, when you do the video, don't look at it, just listen to yourself, but, like kind of like practicing. So what I did was I made a video to a past client, didn't even watch it, just listened to it, sent it to her, and then had an appointment for the next day to show a house. So I'll be listing her house and selling her something once we identify the right property. But I wanted to say thanks to Mark for giving me, kind of that insight to just put the phone down. Doesn't matter what you look like. Just make sure you don't, wanted to make sure I didn't say anything really stupid, but it was all good. So I'm off to do it again today.
Beautiful. That's what the purpose of this mastermind is here for, right? Awesome. We're learning from each other. We want to grow because you know what? It's a supportive cast here. Now, as you know, I'm not sure if you know this, but I just launched the new private Facebook group for us, right? I'm trying to get everybody on it. My bad. I'm never on Facebook, but it is in my weekly email. You kind of click on it to jump on that, and I'll let you into the group. And really the idea is to have this more often. Like we have this half-hour call once a week as a mastermind, but ideally, being able to connect and lean on each other if you have any questions, challenges, anything in your business. And that's what it's there for. So I am going to be pushing that. And hopefully I have some time today that I can really work on that. Does anyone have any challenges, any issues in their business, anything that they're having a tough time with? Whether it be a client issue, whether it be just a mental issue, hey, how do I get myself to make my hours of power calls? Anything. What issues do you guys have? No, really? You guys, all right, Simon, thank you.
So my issues have just started with just starting coaching recently. I'm going through a separation, which is challenging, and dating somebody as well, and dealing with my kids. And I am so overwhelmed and I am trying to segment things. I'm trying to compartmentalize, but I find myself even with I'm trying to get my database is the big thing in my business. I'm trying to get it back down to what it should be. So I've converted to a new CRM and got all the database supposedly working. But the big thing is I find myself behind on absolutely everything. I'm still doing well with the business, but I just not where I want to be.
Okay, does anyone have any words of wisdom, anything that they would share that you think would help?
Try not to overthink it. Simon,
Okay.
if you just think about what you're doing at the time, I know that sounds cliche and ridiculous, but if you're focusing on calling that client or whatever you're doing in your business, because if you start to waver from that and think about all the stresses in your life, that's where you're going to go. And then you're, for all intents a better word, you're fucked. So you want to stay on absolute task. I've been through that. I know how it feels. It's horrible. But if I was at an open house, or if I'm trying to just engage in clients, like just trying to get to the next conversation, the next minute, and then you get through it. That's because if you start thinking of everything else, you're done because you get so much going on.
Love it. Angie, you got something to add to that?
Well, my illustrious coach taught me this. That's you, Danny. Uh, get a board and do to do, and then doing, and then done, and put sticky notes on them and move them from one compartment to the other, and only do one thing at a time. So whatever you prioritize, work on that, move it over, and then get it done. And it
Love it.
works like a dream.
Love it. So I'm hearing is stay focused on one task at a time. And here it is, Simon. To be honest with you, Tom would say this, we can't multitask. We can't be doing everything at the same time. We do what's called multi-switching. We go from one task to another to another. Now, there is no such thing as work-life balance. I don't care what anyone says. No, you try as much as you can. You try and get that. You find that whatever it is whatever needs the attention in your life, you give it the attention. So you have to ask yourself, what's more important to you right now? Is it more important to, continue that, have that new relationship? Is that most important to you? So you have that relationship, you have your why, right? Is it more important to, hey, I need to work on my real estate business and go all in with the real estate business? Not to say you don't go all in, but you have to understand where's your energy going. And you also have that relationship with your kids to make sure you have that balance. That's a lot of juggling. Would you guys agree? That's a lot of juggling. That's a lot of plates up in the air, right? So what I'm hearing Christine and Angie saying, real simple, is focus one at a time. Get that up in reps. Like you don't want to be trying to do everything at the same time. Now, I love the do doing and done board. Anyone use a do doing and done board? Yeah. So Simon already's got one of those, right? So remember what Angie said. Don't do more than one at a time. In the doing section of the do doing and done board, it's only should be one item, and then you move it over. So what's the do doing and done board, folks? You have a plethora of activities and tasks that you want to do. Simply write them out on a sticky note. So write it on a sticky note, each task, one task at a time on a sticky note. Then you have a do board, and you put in all the different tasks that you want to do. And then you take one of those, put it in the doing side, and you complete it. Once that's completed, you move it over to the done side. And that's your accomplishments. You've been accomplishing, and you start to see everything go from the left to the right. Right? Really good idea. Keep you on task. Right? Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Wonderful. Does anyone else have any other challenges? No? You guys all good?
There was one in the chat.
There's one in the chat. All right. What does it say here? It says follow-ups. Dealing with a client that was interested in the their home. All right. Well, I mean, you're dealing with a client who's frustrated with the process, frustrating that their home hasn't sold. Sorry, that they're thinking of selling, but they're frustrated with the process. Imad, explain a little bit more of this one. Can you unmute yourself and jump on?
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we got you.
Great, thank you. So just to give you a little bit of insight, so I've been circle prospecting. I called this client. I asked him if he ever thought about selling. A long story short, he said, I've been considering it, looking to upsize, whatever the case is. So I've been calling him, just to kind of give him the information on his property. I keep catching him at work, and I'm also switching gears to try to catch him in the evening. But when I've called him, he kind of just shows like a sense of frustration, like, oh, like I don't have time for this, and then hangs up. But originally it was, he was on board with everything. So that's what I mean when I say
Okay, so you
frustrated.
have to be very careful, Manuel. When you built the report initially, you have this premise in your head that when you call them next, that report is still built there, which is not true. When you're doing follow-up, you actually have to rebuild that rapport and that trust again. So going back to more motivational questions is what I would do. I would say something like this. Hey, Manuel, it's Danny with Blah Blah Real Estate. At one point, you mentioned you're thinking of selling your home. I'm just curious, is that still the plan or if things changed? Like you're almost going back to qualifying them again. And if they're saying, yeah, that's still the plan, I go, okay, tell me more. If you sold this home, where would you go to next? When would you like to be there? Why is it you're moving there? Start getting them to talk about the dream. If the dream is important enough, then they'll book that appointment. If the dream is not important enough, they may be down the road a year or two, right? This may be just kind of the research sort of follow-up. And instead of trying to close them for an appointment, just put them on an email drip, put them on a follow-up drip at some point. But what I want everyone to be careful is even though I have this amazing call with you initially, and it sounded great, and they have a great plan, then when I follow up again, I can't be assuming that I have that rapport with them. I need to rebuild it again. Go back to the motivational questions if you have to, just to make sure that they're still on, like this is still their dream, this is still their idea. And then you may close them only when they're ready. You guys know when they're ready to foreclose? You know where you're talking to people, you're asking the questions, you repeat, approve, go to the next question, repeat, approve, go to the next question. Do you know at what point you should ask for the appointment? Does anyone know? It's when they agree with you, right? Asking a question like, hey, does this all make sense to you? And they're like, yeah. So if, would it be all right with you if we were to meet and I could share with you the process involved in selling your home? And they're like, yes. They have to agree with you before you try and close them for that appointment, right? So you have your opening. Then there's a series of questions that you ask that are what we call open-ended questions to build the trust and rapport. And then we look for agreement questions. Has anyone taken the time to sit with you and share with you the process involved in selling a home? No, no one has. Would you be interested in sitting down for 15, 20 minutes so I can share with you the process involved in selling your home? Actually, that would work for you. Great. Then you close them for that appointment. Right? Does that make sense? So make sure you keep, when it comes to lead follow-up, you may have to go back to the motivation and ask those questions again. There's nothing wrong with me asking you, Mark, hey, where are you thinking of moving to? And I can ask you 4 times. Where are you thinking of moving to again? Tell me again. Where is that you're moving to again? So you're thinking of moving. What was that again? Like, I'm going to say that to you so you keep reminding yourself that, yeah, I want to move there. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't, just because you found out in the conversation where they're moving to, you should still go back to those motivational questions. Real important. Hey, great, great, great. I love that. Did that
Thank
help?
you.
Thank you.
Yes, no, thank you so much.
Any other challenges, questions, concerns? All right, so top of your page, let's talk about goals and being focused. We are now 6, 7 weeks into the year. How are you with hitting your goals? Oh, come on, someone's had to hit their goals, right? What is your goal, right? What is the goal that we're chasing right now? Does anyone know? Is it the yearly goal? Half year goal? Quarterly goal. That's right. We're hitting the quarterly goal. Are you on track? Are you on track to your quarterly goal? Yes. Great. Keep it up. No. Why not? What do you have to do to get back on track of your quarterly goal? I want some suggestions. If you are behind in your quarterly goal, what should we do to get back on track? Fernando's like, prospect more, sell more. Love it. Okay. So prospecting more, connecting with more people. Listen, your entire job is real simple. It's twofold. It's book appointments, go on appointments. Would you guys agree? Book appointments, go on appointments, book appointments, go on appointments. So who is it in your lead sources that you can connect with right now, that you are tremendous working with? You absolutely love working with these folks, that if you just spent a little more time with these folks, you would get more appointments. Does everyone know who that group is for them? And it could be people you know, your Sphere database. It could be your, circle prospecting for some, non-owner occupied, expires, not for sale runners. It could be doing more DMing people and polls on social media. What is it for you? And the question that becomes is, are you on track with your prospecting numbers? Right? When we did the business plan at the end of the beginning of the year, it actually tells you how many conversations you're supposed to have every day, how many leads you're supposed to be booking every week, every day. You're supposed to be getting every day. How many appointments you're supposed to be getting every week. We have those goals, correct? What do you think is holding you back, or why you're not hitting those goals? I'm just curious.
Frustration.
Frustration from whom? Is it the client? Is it society? Is it you?
Oh, it's me.
Frustration from what?
Just, it's, as you know, it's a grind, and I'm trying to, as I give my own stupid advice, stay focused on the task and not think about prospecting itself. So just being consistent, which I am more, and then understanding that, oh yeah, it's consistency is the key, but it's just a lot.
No, I don't disagree. And it sucks. And it's boring, right? You
Yeah.
need to make your calls. You need to talk to people you don't care to talk to. And there's days that you don't feel like it, right? You overeat over the weekend, you overdrink over the weekend, you feel like crap Monday morning, right? It's a reality. That's just life.
What was that saying in the old days? Guys used to like duct tape their hand to the phone and they wouldn't, or they would chain themselves to the desk until they got an appointment.
Love it, love it. When I was a kid, when I was in high school, grade 11, grade 12, I had the privilege of working co-op at the Toronto Stock Exchange. So I worked for a company called Nesbitt Thompson. And what they did is they dealt with the high-end clients. They did with all the trading for one of our banks, Bank of Montreal. So they did all the trading for Bank of Montreal. So I went up to the 55th floor. If you're downtown Toronto, it's one of the biggest buildings we have there. It was the 55th floor of the BMO building in Toronto. And I come up the elevator, and this floor is a double floor, meaning it's, you got like these 10-foot, 12-foot high ceilings, but this one's like 24 because it was like a double. So the atrium on the 55th floor was a double atrium. So you had all glass windows. It was beautiful. But then that's all you had. You kind of, out of the elevators, it's just, you saw sunlight from one side, sunlight from the other side. You walked in, and then there was these massive doors. And as soon as I walked in the doors, all I saw was the trading floor. The beam with Bank of Montreal trading floor. It was all stockbrokers all around, all these little cubicles. And this was 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, the stock market doesn't open till 9. But at 8 o'clock in the morning, the room was filled with stockbrokers. Like it was like massive. There must have been 100 people there. All these little cubicles, all 100 cubicles, right? All with headsets. And guess what they were doing?
Making calls.
They were making calls. Now the market hasn't opened yet, right? Now back in the day, it wasn't like you were trading like the way we trade now on our phones. Like you had to connect with people, actually physically write the trade, go over to the trade desk, and the trade desk had these containers and would slide down to the trading floor. And then they would grab the container and say, okay, this person's buying this shares at this price. And they would go to a trader, and the trader would he's responsible for that stock, would say, yeah, I got it. I could fill that order. And then we'll go back to the floor, send it back up to the trading floor up in the 55th floor. And then the agent will call, the broker will call the client and says, you got it. Congratulations. We bought those shares at that price. But all day they're on the phone. Do you think, because remember, these guys are all commission based. All those traders are commission based. All those traders had clients to fill orders so they can be busy, and they're making calls all day trying to find new clients. Now, some veterans that have been around, clients will call them. But for the most part, they're on the phones from 8 o'clock. The floor closed at 4. I think it was 9 to 4 or 9 to 5. No, 4 o'clock, because then at 5 o'clock, they're meeting with clients afterwards. That was their day, Monday to Friday. They were making, I don't know, a couple $100,000 a year, because each trade, they'll make 50, 60, 70 bucks a trade. How much do you guys make per transaction?
About the same, $50 a trade.
Okay, good. So then we have to put more effort into it so we can get the 200,000 that we're looking for. Does this make sense, folks?
Yep.
Right? So having that discipline to be successful is really what we're talking about here. It sucks. It's boring making those calls, connecting with people. But we've been working together that all you have to do is till 12 noon. You don't have to do it till 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. You just need to do it till 12 noon. And for most of you, you're absolutely afraid to make a call before 9 o'clock, which blows my mind. But okay, so we're saying 3 hours is your working window. No? No calls? We good? No? Still too scared? Okay, 1 hour power. I give in. But every day? No, 3 days a week? Okay. Okay. Oh, but not on the second week of the month. Okay. I get it. So now we're down to 2 days every other week. Is that what I'm hearing? Step it up. Every day.
Before we end, I have a question. Maybe you can give me some insight, like advice. I'm struggling with getting my agents like on my team motivated. Like I don't know how to get them to call and get them to have a fire under their ass.
Fire them.
Ah,
No, legit, fire them. I got this awesome team that it's not my team, but Stephen Kim. Oh man, you know what? If you're on his team, the first month you're on his team, you have to do 2 transactions. You got 30 days to do 2 transactions. If you don't do the 2 transactions in the 30 days, you're off his team. Just like that. You want to join my team? Good. Put 2 deals together. You don't put the 2 deals together, you're off the team. After which, you have to maintain staying on the team. You have to do 1 transaction every month. You don't do 1 transaction every month, you're off the team. Just it's pressure. Folks, how do you not do a transaction in a month? There's 40 hours a week, correct? Like if we want to work like as if we're corporate, but we're not corporate. You are entrepreneurs. This is your business. Doing 60 hours, working 60 hours is not unreasonable. That's your business. It's only 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And it's funny, I get this, oh, I work 7 days a week nonsense. Well, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't work 7 days a week. You're just on your phone 7 days a week and you don't commit to your family at least 1 day a week. Commit to yourself 1 day a week. I always say, do not work more than 6. You guys heard that before, right? You're not allowed to work 6 days a week. Doing an open house on the Sundays and that's it. That's all you do is just that one open house is, in my eyes, is stupid. Right? Like if it's a work day and you're going to do an open house on that Sunday, you might as well make your calls. You might as well book a second appointment there. You might as well actually go all in that one work day. Right? Then take time off on a Friday. Take that whole day off. Don't answer any calls. But at the end of the day, this is your business. And all I'm asking you to do is 2 hours of power, 5 days a week. That's the intention, correct? Go ahead, Mark. What do you got?
To help Masha out a little bit, we were having an issue with one of our team members, and I've been trying to pump her up and do the same thing. So I had a meeting with her on Tuesday, and I said I'll just make all my calls in front of you on speakerphone, and I did it all for her. I did for my sphere of influence, and we sat down, and I said I'll do it for half an hour, and you'll see what I do and how I do it. I put my Apple Watch timer on for 3 minutes to make sure I wasn't on the phone longer than 3 minutes, and I literally just went through and I called a random person from high school. I was like, hey, we haven't chatted in a while. I gave like a quick little insight on, touch base on something that we had fun in high school. And I said, look, I don't want to keep you all day because I saw my timer was catching up. I just said, I am in real estate. If you know anyone looking to buy or sell, I'd really appreciate the referral. And they actually said, yeah, I have a family member that's thinking of selling. I said, you know what, let's circle back to that. No problem. And then it was great to my teammate to actually, I don't get that success rate all the time, but it was nice for my teammate to see that. And they were like, oh, and they got all jacked up. So next week we'll circle back and I'll talk to her and see how she's feeling.
Love it. So Christine echoed the same thing as have them prospect with you, right? Marsha, actually, I'm being mean by saying just fire them. I guess that's just the mood I'm in right now. But to be honest with you, what you should do is find out why. And the why could be they don't have a strong enough goal. They don't have a strong enough ambition. They may have a spouse that brings in a significant amount of money, so the money's not the motivator, right? Then we need to find something more. The second could be they just don't know what to say. They don't know who to call and why they're calling them. And that's a big challenge too. They say, okay, go make your calls, but who am I going to call? What am I going to say to them? Like they don't have that trust yet in who to call and what to say. And it's important. Like I get a lot of pushback when I ask people to make calls to people to their sphere. And that's legit. I understand. I mean, why am I going to call my mom and my dad or a cousin or someone from school, right? And if you have the why and understand why you're calling them, that is extremely important. You need to have the why. If you don't have the why, then you won't know what to say. But once you have the why, you know what questions to ask, what to say, and then how to move it forward, right? Did that help, Marsha?
yeah, it helps. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right. Please unmute yourselves. Everybody unmute yourselves. My favorite time. You guys ready? I'm gonna yell out what date's today. Yell back, it's a money-making day. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yes,
All
sir.
right. What date's today?
Money making day.
That's right, it's a money-making day. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to do at least 2 hours of power every day for the
Yep.
next 5 days?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Let's do it. I'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks so much.